Listen, this video gonna be about my simp days and when I was just overall not in frame as far as in heading towards my future and the greatness that's ahead. Look, I first, started dealing with women at from a young age, honestly. Young age, I was experienced in certain fields, but just the dynamic, how to go about, manhood and pursuing my future. And while dealing with women, I didn't know how to balance it. I was the naive boy that made mistakes to get where I'm at today, to where I know what I need to lock in. So let's get into my simp days, man. Starting off, man, I did everything to make sure the woman was pleased in a way of being unhealthy. I was trying to do way too much. And sometimes we fall victim of this. And sometimes it leads to us being people pleasers. And I naturally was just trying to make sure everybody around me was straight. So when a shorty came in, I sometimes overdid it while dealing with her, trying to people please her. Like, nah. But while doing this, I ended up getting hurt. I ended up taking many lessons of liking a shorty more than she liked me, or overall just not narrow focus on my future and, just being in love, like doing everything. I remember times just seeing red flags. And this was what simp do. This is what simp does. I remember seeing red flags and just dealing with them. Just kind of like, okay, that's a red flag, but you know what I mean? This good, but this bad. And not weighing it out and not really, removing myself from the situation. Because once you remove yourself from the simp days and overall doing too much, you really realize the power in walking away. You realize the power of not dealing with the extra, the BS. Because when you put yourself in position, and this is when you get out the simp days, you realize the power you have. You realize everything, that's in front of you. But another mistake I made is caring too much. A lot of times in my simp days, I cared too much. I wanted to make sure everything was just perfect. You know what I mean? Stuff I wanted perfect outside of my control. And that's a big mistake. I remember a time where, I saw a shorty, she started coming to my school. She was the new girl. I liked her. I tried to get at her. I'm like, yo, what's good? You feel me? I'm feeling you, I'm jacking you. What's good, folks? I tried to run up with her. You feel me? I tried to run up with her. She wasn't feeling me and nothing like that. So what it was, okay, not feeling me, blah, blah, blah. I went through my stages of texting her. It's just, you know what I mean? Just doing too much texting her when she she went on the, let's slow it down side and things of that nature. And, I fell back, you know what I mean? I wasn't naive at that time as far as in doing too much to the point where I'm just like, doing way too much. I had some lessons before in this situation. So, but I still, was learning. And what I did was fall back from her. And, years later, she was the one obsessing over me. She was the one saying she wanted my baby. So, but you have to go through the simp days to understand overall, like, the real, you know what I mean? Cause I've been through the times where, a shorty I'm dealing with throughout many red flags, having, explicit tapes in her phone that I'm telling her to delete, and she ain't deleting, and I still stay with her. Or I'm like, yo, you got to tighten up in this area, and she ain't tighten up, and I ain't holding her accountable. Listen, anybody in my life, I'm gonna hold you accountable, not even just women. You know what I mean? But when you in the simp days, when you not seeing, past her beauty and things of that nature, you tend to do stupid actions. You tend to do things you wouldn't usually do. But once you patch it up and realize, nah, man, the grind, the improvement, the, self-dedication, the family, the bloodline, is way more important than this, then you understand the places you can go honestly. You understand that, you know what I mean, you can't really get hypnotized over a woman's beauty and things in that aspect. You know what I mean? So another thing I learned from my simp days is overall you can take away from your self-improvement. Because when you a simp, you're naturally doing too much. You're naturally just over your heels over someone instead of more than over your heels over yourself. You know what I mean? Because you're naturally trying to do too much. I realized that I was just doing way too much. You know, sending text when you know that shorty not feeling you. You still trying it with this shorty. You still going back to your ex because you feel like that's the best you could do. You still doing way too much. So another thing that I learned is you can't do too much, man. You can't do too much. You do too much with these women, you'll lose. You'll, lose the bag. You'll lose your mind if, your mind not straight. So you can't really do too much, man. I remember slowly and, the times I was dealing with shorties where I'll be doing too much. One thing I realized is that the shorty respect for me was slowly start to, decrease, because it's like naturally they don't want you to do that. You know what I mean? They may seem like it. They may throw some tests out to, make it seem like they want you to do a lot more than, you should, but you really shouldn't. You really shouldn't over emotionally invest, as far as in just doing too much, doing something that's not equal, doing something that's not mutual. You know what I mean? So when you do that and she got you, you know what I mean? That moments is not as, spicy. It's not as, fluid. She not getting as wet for you, because honestly, when a woman loses respect for you, she looking other places. You know what I mean? And a simp, she's not paying attention to you. So the biggest takeaway I'll say, man, is overall focus on your bag, man. Focus on leveling up and getting to the places you need to go, and pouring love into yourself, man. I seen a comment the other day of a guy just overall saying like, yo, I'm lonely and things of that nature, but you know what I mean? He commented on the video I did about, another topic, and he was just saying, I'm lonely without the bag. Dog, that is the best time. You know what I mean? A lot of simps, a lot of dudes out there, they can't stop simping because they scared to sit with self. They scared to elevate with their, solitude, because I like to call it solitude, man. A lot of times dudes are simping because you can't sit with yourself. So when I stopped simping, another thing I learned was how to sit with self. You know what I mean? Because that is your best times to grow and learn things and really dive into what you want to dive into in your life. You know what I mean? So another thing I learned is how to sit with self, man. You know what I mean? The guy was like, I don't have the bag and I'm lonely. Dog, you are in the best position to get it going for yourself, because you have time to really sit down and think. It's no distractions. See, it's a distraction when you just head over heels over these women and not focusing on yourself and what you want to do with your life. So you really got to dive into what you want to do with your life and wake up, folks, because you don't wake up, you ain't gonna ever be the places you want to be in your life. And that's another thing I learned as a simp. You could never get to where you truly destined to be because you're simping. So, man, you just gotta understand, the game of just understanding women and understanding you can't do too much. Yeah, you could look out for people, but at the same time, you gotta make sure where the other person lies with you. You gotta understand, is this person with your program in line with you? You know what I mean? Because you gotta really, learn, or you'll be taken advantage of. The world will step on you. So you gotta learn the ins and out of the world, and put in the work. And self-improvement can never do you wrong. Man, that's the video for today, man. Like, comment, subscribe. I'ma holler at y'all in another one, man.